Hi everybody, it's Jim, and today I want to talk about how long does it take to sail around the world, which is pretty exciting because I'm planning to do this one day when I retire, I guess, or hopefully sooner. That would be great, right? When I'm 40, let's say 40, I'll sail around the world. Yeah. So how long does it take? People say anything from 5 years to 10 years to half a year, which is, no, you're not going to do it in half a year, but you can do it in like a couple of years. So most people take on average 3.5 years, somewhere between 3 and 5, to do just a normal tour of the world, just a complete circumnavigation, and do some sightseeing, right? Because you are doing it to get something out of it, which is seeing something of the actual world and not just stretches of ocean and clouds and blue skies, which is great. So you're not just sailing, you also want to get off the boat and just eat something nice, right? So most people 3.5 years. The world record is 40 days. Most monohulls do like 100 days. The record for a monohull is, I guess, 75. Yeah. And the 40 days is a trimaran. So that's very fast. You can do it. Some people plan on doing something similar in a cruiser. So yeah, let's dive into that. So there are 3 or 4 paces of sailing the world. And it really matters what kind of character you have and what your plan is, right? So you could go non-stop, which is it's fast-paced sailing. You don't stop anywhere. You just go 20 knots continuously and only stop for resupplying and stretching your legs every once in a while, but just a couple of stops, right? So no sit days, no sightseeing, no fine cuisine. So don't bother with that. 100 days. Okay. Express sailing is what most, especially young people, plan to do because they have plans when they're 35. They want to start a family or do a career eventually. So if you're in your mid-20s, early 30s, some people choose to do fast pace or express sailing, 1 to 2 years, you could do it. It's still fast-paced and you have a couple of stops, you have some sightseeing days. It's actually 2 sit days, which is a day on the mainland for every sea day. So that sounds good, right? So, well, let's say you start at Gibraltar, right? That's where I would start. Well, I first sailed to Gibraltar, but whatever. And then I'll probably cross the Atlantic, go to the Caribbean, and then, all right, so I've just sailed 7 days, 12 days straight, right? From Canary Islands to Windward Islands. So I find anchorage, I moor, and then I have I have like 20 days. That sounds good, right? But I want to sail here a bit as well. So, okay, so I have 20 days here. And then I'm going to cross Panama Canal and just hop a bit. So first to Hawaii, it's 2 weeks. And then I have 2 weeks off again, right? So it sounds good, but in practice it means if you go for a day of sailing, you get ashore, you dock, which takes you half a day. You have to resupply, which takes you half the other day. And then you have like an evening and a morning for yourself, but you don't really get to sightsee a lot then, right? So I'd say express sailing, sure, but take the long end, like 2.5 years, right? And then you have recreational pace, fast pace, slow pace. Recreational pace, it takes you anywhere from 3 to 10 years, which is what I probably do myself. It's the only pace that makes sense. You're going to do a circumnavigation, which is not a lot of people do that. It's quite a neat thing, right? So better take a bit of holiday days for it. Smooth, comfortable sailing. If it's the hurricane season, you could just stay in and not sail at all. If you're around the Caribbean again and you don't want to set sail yet, just stay there for a month. It's fine. So that's the recreational fast pace is like 3 to 5 years, and that's 5 sit days for every sea day. So you sail 10 days, you get 50 days off, which is great if you want. So my example just now was not great, but if you're in the Mediterranean, for example, there's a lot of cool stuff to explore there, and there's not a lot of sailing distance to be sailed, right? So you do like a day of sailing, and you get, or half a day, and you find this amazing place on the Italian Riviera, or just in Andalusia. Southern Spain is great as well, and you want to go inland because there's a lot of cool cultures and villages and food and bullfights and everything is there. So, but if you just sailed from Gibraltar over there, it's like half a day, so you get like a day, 2 days off. But if you do recreational pace, you could do like 4 days there and then do a half day sailing and do like 3 days there, and then you get to see something, except just going from anchorage to anchorage and fixing stuff, practical stuff. So that's cool, right? So and then you have the recreational slow pace, which takes you like 3 to 10 years and allows you to, which I hear from a lot of people that start sailing and they you can see it, right? It's New Zealand, and they just stay for a year because it's amazing, probably. So otherwise you wouldn't stay, right? So that if you do the slow pace, it's like 10 sit days for every sea day, which is nice. You get a lot of free time on your hands. So, all right. So, what determines how long your sailing trip will be? There's a lot of factors, right? And the most important thing is your objective. Why are you doing this? If you just want the story, you got a lot of things to do in your life. You want to have the career. All right, perhaps you do express sailing, but it's just for the experience. And I'd only do it if I'm racing someone or myself, for that matter. But if I want to see the world, I probably settle for. I probably do a lot slower pace. All right, the factors that affect length are obviously the boat you have, like the hull shape. If you have a multi-hull, it's a lot faster, like twice as fast probably. The money you have, how long can you afford to go, is for a lot of people, is for me as well really important. So especially if you're young. But also, how fast is your ship, right? Oh, I've mentioned that. Then the route, and we get to that a bit later. But your navigational skills, so how good are you in navigating the seas? Because the crossing, there's like 10 days of sea here. And if you wander off a lot, or if you get unlucky and there's light airs for an extended period of time, you just drift along here a bit. Or you get in the high pressure area. So you got to take that into account. So the routes, right? That's why I'm in front of this large immense map. So the routes, you could do eastward and westward. So the fastest is eastward. So all competitive sailors in the last decade, I guess, only do eastward records because it's way faster. You could sail year through. It's just you could go on and on. There's no trade winds to take into account to check upwind against. So that's a good route. But if you like warm, light breezes, smooth sailing, good spots, and just hop a bit. Most recreational sailors, and I guess I'd be one too, go westward. So they move south. I've got a video about Atlantic crossing. You should watch it. But they go south and then they go west, and then just be a bit in the Caribbean, and then they cross the Panama Canal and just hop around the Pacific. And I have to move to this side, so we're hopping here, right? So, and then we arrive at New Zealand or southeastern Australia, and then you could go, I guess, north of Australia, through the Indian Ocean, through the Suez Canal, and then sail the Mediterranean here and return home, which is a great route. Most competitive sailors, they go around the Capes. You could do that. It adds about 3,000 nautical miles to your route, which is about 15%. Like, it's 3 months if you move quickly. And the average route is about 24 to 25,000 nautical miles, which is quite long enough actually. So, but you could go around the Capes, and then your route would be like, if you go, for example, now this time you go eastwards, you could do around the Capes, the Southern Ocean. Let's take the Southern Ocean, and you skip all of the Indian Ocean, which is nice due to safety issues, right? Like the pirates and the terrorism. So you take the Southern Ocean, use the current here, and then you end up, you do like the northern coast of Australia, New Zealand, skip around a bit in the Pacific, then tack up to Hawaii. Where's Hawaii? It's here, Jesus. And then take the Panama Canal, do the Caribbean, Atlantic crossing north, and you've reached home, which is a great route as well. So that's nice. So eastwards is faster, westwards quicker, but we're not in it for the speed, right? We're in it for the joy and the experience. If you're planning your circumnavigation as we speak, or for later, please go to improvedsailing.com/world, and there I'll show you the map with the actual route plotted on it, like the Cape route and the canal route as well, so using the channels. So go to improvedsailing.com/world. Smooth sailing. Bye bye.